Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston. Sitting here with me, Erin Osborne. She is a school mental health supervisor, and we're happy to have her here on Bounce Around Charleston to talk about some serious matters. Erin, welcome to Bounce Around Charleston.
Thank you so much for having me.
I asked my producer to help me find someone to talk about mental health with our young people.
Yes.
Because the story of what happened in Memphis really concerned me about
Yes.
our children and the school system.
Yes.
What do you say about that?
I say that it should concern you, and we should all be concerned about the effect that those events have on our children.
Because when I looked at 3 9-year-olds
Yes.
and their lives being taken,
Yes.
my concern was when it's time to go back to school, what will their peers be thinking?
Yes. It's really tough. I mean, who knows what they're thinking? They could be thinking a lot of things because kids often think a lot of things without really being able to explicitly explain what it is, but probably fear. They're probably scared. They're probably really sad, traumatized. Those are just a few.
And what should the parents be doing to help them?
So I think that, well, before the parents get involved, I
Okay.
think that it would be important for the school system, hopefully the school has some sort of crisis intervention services set up so that they can, mental health professionals can come into the school and address the children that are there in the school about what happened, provide that immediate sort of crisis intervention to help educate the kids and the parents, right? And then the parents can do a lot of things, I think, actually. I think that the parents firstly need to sort of think about their own reactions to the event. They need to sort of process what has happened. They need to get their own support system in place because they're going to have lots of feelings too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so it's important for them to gauge their reactions and their thoughts and their feelings before they even approach their children. And then I think that the most important thing that parents can do for their kids is to listen.
To listen.
Yes. So a lot of times adults in general want to tell children what to do. And so I think that we should not. In those situations where there's a traumatic event that has happened, I think it's most important to listen. And you can provide permission for the child to talk about it through asking a question, maybe a prompt. How do you feel about that? Or even share your own. I was feeling worried, and then see if the child will elaborate and respond to what you said.
And what about the administration?
Of the school?
Yes.
I'm hopeful that they would be able to support the crisis intervention and then any follow-up mental health intervention that needs to occur in the school. And then, they have to also think about the teachers and sort of addressing the teachers because they have to come back to school also. And that's so scary.
Yes.
So in general, I think the administration should be helpful in the access that the students and the teachers and the parents have to the mental health.
I'm sitting here thinking, when
Yeah.
we use the term mental health,
Yes.
how do we define that?
Mental health is in an intervention or mental health just in general?
Mental health
In general. So I would say that is how a person is able to move throughout the day, right? Our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, and if anything is affecting them that would lead us to act in a way that would be problematic, right?
So, are there any particular signs that parents should be looking for in their children?
Sure. So I think any change in behavior would be important to recognize. So if all of a sudden your child has disruptions at school, maybe their grades start to fail, maybe they don't have an appetite anymore, maybe they're unable to sleep, maybe they just are having some extreme worries, maybe they don't get along with their friends anymore, or they're fighting with you. Any sort of disruption like that in their behavior beyond what's normal, I think we should look for.
So when parents see those signs, what should they do?
I think that it's helpful to reach out to another person, maybe the school counselor, if you have a good relationship with them, maybe a mental health professional. You can always just ask for an assessment. What do you think is going on? What do you think would be appropriate? This is what I'm seeing, you know, and then the mental health professional can guide you in the direction of what would be an appropriate intervention for them.
Now I'm just throwing this out here. Suppose your child said to you, I don't want to go back to school.
What would I say?
What would you say?
I would say, I hear that. We all have to do things that we don't want to do. And I think that as the parent, it's important to make sure that there's no disruption in routines also. So yes, maybe there's a school shooting, and then maybe the reaction from the child is that I don't want to go there because that could happen. Well, let's talk about it a little bit more. Let's explore, where is that worry coming from? What are you thinking about? And in order to get sort of to what the root of it is, you have to be able to listen, acknowledge, validate, empathize, so that they talk more.
What are some other things that children nowadays have to deal with that can interrupt the normal?
All kinds of things. Children have to deal with so much. I have a lot of empathy for kids, actually, because they never are allowed to have just an off day, right? We go to work and yes, right? So sometimes we go to work and we can just not have a great day and just sort of slide under the radar. But kids aren't allowed to do that. Kids have to be on all the time. Every day at school, they're constantly being monitored. They're constantly being asked what they're doing, having to be responsible for every single moment. So I think that the pressure that kids feel from having to perform every day is a lot. I think adolescents in particular have a lot of pressure to perform every day.
I was looking at the timing of this incident, and I said, school is almost ending for the year.
Yeah.
So so I was hoping that maybe by that filtering in itself, hopefully that can be a cushion that we only be here for a short period and then we can take a break. What do you think?
Yes, I mean, I think that would be okay to say to the children, right? We have a little bit longer to go, then we're going to have a summer break, we'll reassess. A lot of times those immediate stress reactions that happen right after a traumatic event do lessen over time if you get some good intervention, crisis intervention at first.
And so, okay, so when this happens, do parents know exactly where to reach out?
I don't know. Like locally or in Memphis, or is it?
Locally, yes.
I think that the school districts have tried to do a really good job of being transparent about where to go and how to access mental health care. I know that with the schools that I work with, a lot of them provide in their newsletters information about the Charleston Mental Health Center and phone numbers to call. And CCSD and DMH have a partnership, and so there are therapists in I think 75 schools in CCSD in Charleston County. And so there's often a therapist at the school that the school counselors and administration know and can reach out to if a parent reaches out to them for help.
And this is very important.
Yes.
And students really, parents need to make, I would think, would need to have that number accessible, because nowadays children have so much to deal with.
They do. It is accessible. And should I say the number?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's 843-852-4100 is the number for the Charleston Mental Health Center.
Say that number again.
843-852-4100.
Reach out to that number.
Yes.
And help is on the way.
Yes.
In your office, have we seen a whole lot in our local school districts
Of
needing mental?
Yes, yes. I think that the initiative that CCSD DMH contract and partnership has really increased the access that children have in order to be able to have mental health care. That's been really, really helpful for them and for the schools too. And that's increased so much in the last, I think, like 8 years maybe.
Okay. But Erin Osborne, school mental health supervisor,
Yes.
I want to say personally thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
And because you really helped me with this situation, because it really touched me with that story.
No.
And I really want my children locally and around just to feel safe and to know that it's okay.
Yes.
Things are going to be all right.
Me too. You can always reassure your children appropriately, right? So we can't say that nothing bad will ever happen, but we can certainly say you're safe right now. You can certainly say that your school has provided safety protocol, safety people are there. Most schools have an SSRO, and so there are safety plans in place for anything that could happen. And just like a fire drill, right? Fires don't happen often in schools, but when they do, we want to know what to do.
What to do.
Yes.
Thank you, Erin Osborne.
Thank you.
You heard it right here on Bounce Around Charleston. We'll be right back after the break.